So we're getting ready to do our final activity. And all of a sudden, from beside me, the tissue box flies off the front desk into the sea of children. For a moment, I just sat there, and all of these children are looking at me like, how did you do that?
From the dawn of the spoken word, storytelling has been the backbone of human culture, warning of looming dangers and evoking our most personal fears. What you're about to hear are the real-life experiences of everyday people, brave enough to share their terrifying tales. Tales where the horror hits close to home. I'm your host, Danny. Welcome to the Hometown Horrors Podcast. Listen, if you dare. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are at Hand Stuff 4.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, usually things don't make it past number 3, but we're at number 4.
And even if they make it past 3, who's to say it's any good?
That is true. But it turns out Olivia got some more spooky old stories.
Yeah, so as you'll hear in Patty's episode, we talk about a teacher that we lost last year. And Scott actually taught at the school that I did my student teaching at before I actually ever worked with him. And for some reason, I was talking about him the other day and I realized that I had spooky stories with him. But it took me remembering him to remind myself. So I am in college. I'm a cute, younger version of Olivia. And I was doing my student teaching placement in Ashburn, Virginia at Newton Lee Elementary School. It was a fairly normal elementary school, but I remember when I did my first lesson in a different classroom, one of the teachers made a joke about there being paranormal entities in the building. There is a little bit of history, as all good ghost stories have, of war taking place on that land and the actual grounds of Newton Lee being like a war hospital. So there were frequent stories about nurses or soldiers in broad daylight in the hallways.
Yeah, like someone that's going to a reenactment.
Yes.
Just walking down the hall.
Yes, and that's a great way to describe it. Like it was somebody who was fully dressed in garb of that era, just walking through our modern day elementary school. And so I kind of just tucked that away. I was so focused on being the best teacher I could be at that time that I wasn't really concerned.
And usually like when coworkers tell you that, you just kind of shrug your shoulders. You go, yeah, whatever.
Right. Until I experience it, I'm just taking your word at face value.
Every story has that thing like, oh, that door slams by itself every now and again, and that's just the ghost.
Right.
Sure it is.
And so I think I had just kind of tucked away those side remarks. And it wasn't until my very last day of student teaching that I had an experience. It's a very nice school and in a good community. You just wouldn't think anything was weird. All of the history that had come with this place, or what people were referring to, was history of the land, not necessarily the school building itself. The last day of my student teaching, I very vividly remember that I was going to do a scarf activity. I wanted to play a song that was from the Dr. Seuss, Oh, the Places You'll Go. It was a song that somebody made based on the words in that book and turned it into a song. So I needed the internet to do that. I needed to project that on the screen while the kids did the scarf part. And I remember getting to school that morning, and as soon as we walked in, my cooperating teacher, Becky, looked at me and she was like, hey, the internet's down today. You're going to have to fly by the seat of your pants. She was like, I know that you wanted to teach something that used YouTubes, but you're not going to be able to use any YouTube today.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I was like, we'll make it work. I'll pull my ukulele out and I'll play some songs and we'll figure it out. But like my entire day was planned around that. So I remember feeling like something was wrong. A lot of people in Ashburn couldn't get the internet to work. So it was like a whole outage.
A county-wide
miles. Yeah.
collapse.
Yes. It was weird. So then I was like trying to pivot. And then within the hour of school starting in the morning, we didn't have classes during that first block. That's when I usually got to set myself up. And I guess the internet had come back on during that time.
Miraculously.
Yes. However, after that, 4th grade had rolled in, and because it was my last day, I was sad that I was leaving these kids. It's an emotional experience, and I think the kids were sad to see me go as well. So Becky, my mentor, had put a box of tissues up at the front of the room. She was like, I think you're going to need these today. And I was like, Becky, you know what? You're probably right. I was like, you'd know better than me. And so 4th grade, I had started the lesson. I was sitting at the front of the room. We had like a little stool right beside the board where I was projecting the YouTube video. And I was sitting there. And I think at that moment, Becky had walked out of the room because at this point, I've taught for a month now. I'm pretty solid in what I'm doing. So she doesn't need to babysit me. I was the only one adult-wise in the room. And there's like 25 4th graders looking at me.
Little gremlins, yeah.
Yes. So I'm emotional. We're getting ready to do our final activity. And all of a sudden, from beside me, the tissue box flies off the front desk into the sea of children. For a moment, I just sat there. And all of these children are looking at me like, how did you do that? The first thing I said to the kids, I was like, did you see that? Like, I did not know what to do. Like, there are so many situations they don't prepare you for. And the kids just start joking. Oh, it's a ghost. It's the ghost. And I'm like actually quaking because like I believe in ghosts and I know enough to be scared. So I pick up the tissue box and I put it back on the table, but I put it to the very back of the table. Okay, maybe it's just gravity. Maybe she didn't put it the whole way on there. Maybe the vent turned on and the vent swept it off. Trying in my brain to rationalize this weird anomaly that has happened. So I put it on the back of the desk and I continued with the lesson. We cried and we said our goodbyes. The internet cut back off somewhere around noon. So then I was like, again, flying by the seat of my pants, which I'm very good at. Then roll around to like the end of the day, which was like 2nd grade, just me and the children in the room. So again, I'm setting the lesson up for the scarf activity. I had gotten up and I walked over to the scarves and I am passing them out. And again, the tissue box is on the floor.
Nobody saw it get to the floor. It was just there.
Yeah.
And you'd feel like if it was even a student trying to continue the freakiness of it, they wouldn't just place it on the floor. They would do something strange and notable.
So first of all, they would have to be able to have time to talk to each other. And there's no way that 4th graders and 2nd graders saw each other from the time that I had 4th grade in the morning to the time that I had 2nd grade in the afternoon. They're at recess at different times. They're at lunch at different times. They wouldn't have been in any common spaces together.
When did you have time to take your eyes off it?
When I was passing out the scarves.
A little end of your time hazing from the ghost.
Right. What was that? And why did it wait until the very last day that I was there? Is this your goodbye to me? Like the tissues?
You're going to need these.
Yeah, like.
Do they know what they are, though?
I don't know.
How far back do tissues go?
What
is this strange little
handkerchiefs?
Box of paper.
So you have like your pocket square things.
And you have to think if there is like a resident ghost, they probably observed activity in that area. It's
absolutely. You have to think too, they watched people blow their nose. So on the last day of school, Becky and I exchanged last day gifts. So I was already crying before the day had even really started. I couldn't have had a better mentor. So if the ghosts were paying any kind of attention, they were wise to give me tissues.
Yeah,
so
like, hey, sop it up a little bit.
And I kind of think that if Becky could have haunted me, that's what Becky would have done. Like if Becky was the ghost in that room, if her energy could carry, that's what Becky would have done to me. There were many moments during my student teaching where I would be like asking her for help and she'd be like, figure it out. Like, you can do it.
Yeah.
You got the training. You don't need me. And it was like the moment where you like take the training wheels off the bike and just like see if you fall down and like cut your knees open. Becky would let me fall down every time and cut my knees open just so I could stand back up and get on the bike again and figure out how to
learn?
Yeah, exactly. That is Becky's method of teaching. And so the tissues make perfect sense because there were many times that I cried in my lessons because that's just trial by fire is how we joke that Becky taught me. I was her last student teacher, so 2016, 17, whatever that was. Now she teaches college courses, but she no longer does classroom stuff in elementary land anymore. So she's been in that school for at least 16 years. If her energy could manifest in that room and somehow tease or taunt me, that is what her energy would have done.
And I think that calls back to a topic we covered in a couple of earlier episodes at this point. Because our discourse of what hauntings actually are has been evolving this entire time.
Yeah.
If that school does have some kind of weird supernatural activity, who's to say it doesn't take on the characteristics of the people that enter that space?
Yeah.
The energy's there. You just need to dye it in your colors.
It's hard for me to say because I feel like I'm at a space in life where nothing would shock me. For them to pull back the curtain at Oz and it's really some fish in a dog costume, like that's not going to freak me out. I'm prepared for that to be the answer. What sets me back in my beliefs is that there's too much consistency in what people are saying for it to be just something that I will into existence. I would take it even one step further, and this is going to sound so nerdy, but the power of your words is so important.
Well, that is very true. To take it back to biblical lore, the first thing Adam had to do was name everything in the garden. Once you have a name for something, it grants familiarity.
Right.
Naming something is defining it.
Yeah.
That is asserting a certain power over things.
Right. I think the power of speech has a lot to do with it. The way that you invite things into your world.
That also calls back to certain episodes too. When there are hauntings, let's say Ricky's episode, for example, he said his tried and true method is just to ignore things when they happen, because if he validates it either to his own mind or to whatever may be watching or listening in that region, activity would likely increase.
Right.
Because all ghosts are little attention whores. They want all the attention they can get.
Exactly. And so like even in John and Stephanie's episode where they talk about how they had not validated the things that they were experiencing until they heard the kids talk about it, you're all experiencing the exact same thing. That's too much of a coincidence for that to be just something that I made up in my brain.
I don't know that just calling something a ghost would be a broad enough explanation for what something is.
No.
I don't think it's just that we get trapped after we die if we have unfinished business. I've said it a million times at this point. I think it's the emotion that you carried in life might not go with you after you die. The consciousness as from your soul probably goes into an afterlife or ascends to another dimension or descends in some cases. Even if it is just a snapshot in time, if it is just a memory associated with a location that maybe charges that area with a certain energy, maybe that can even become something after a certain point.
Right.
Like meat or food that was left in a fridge for a couple of years that can become a fungus, a mold.
Slice of cheese.
Yeah. Well, American cheese will outlive all of us without.
It's true. But I think that's where the power of words come in, because be it just a moment of energy trapped in time, if you talk about it like it is a sentient creature, then are you willing it to existence, or did it already exist?
Did we say, hey, that house looks haunted, and then it became haunted?
Right.
Or was it already haunted and we're just aware of it now because we're opening our perception to see it that way?
Right.
You might have not known the word for zebra, but now that you do, you're like, oh, there's a zebra every time you see one.
Right. And I fully believe that places and people hold energy. I mean, we all hold trauma in our own ways, but like, I think as a society, once we get these like ghost ideas, we just run with it instead of questioning it. I wouldn't be surprised if the things that we experience as ghosts are actually aliens.
The interesting thing about aliens is that things nurtured in different environments evolve differently. So they could be things of light. They could be the size of germs. They might not exist in any physical form at all. Mm-hmm. They might be the gray or green aliens that you typically see, in media, big heads, little bodies.
Right.
They could be other animals. There's a great South Park episode where Earth is just a TV show where you take different species throughout the universe and just stick them on one planet. Our way of life is essentially just a joke to all the other species of the universe. So like deers and white people on the same planet. Check into Earth. That North Korea's up to it again. It is weird how many things there are here because there's not this much biodiversity on any other planet.
Yes. But also just like ecosystems in general.
Yeah.
There's no...
Think about how complex even
chain.
Just like a rainforest is.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And that's like a small subsection of all the planet's species.
Right. From the microbials that live there to like the killer
Bugs,
species.
birds.
Yeah, for sure. Just like even the
other things.
Bacterias that are in things that live there.
Yeah. And other planets are like dirt balls or gas. It's like...
Right. So I
the
think
further you get outside of here, is it likely that this is the only place that fostered life, or is it the only place that fostered life we can detect
or digest? Yeah. I don't think it's
maybe
about
we're not
detecting. I think it's
created
about
to perceive things
Correct.
Outside of this planet.
If there is life on a different planet in our solar system or beyond it that is as conscious, if not more conscious than we are. Who's to say that they aren't the beings who created this? Again, I'm just playing devil's advocate. These are not things that I believe, but they're fun thoughts to just turn around.
Yeah, and I think that could be said for almost everything we talk about on a broad spectrum. Our actual beliefs are usually kept out of the episodes. It's just spitballing what things might be.
Okay, let's just talk about the pyramids real quick. There's no way we made that without some kind of guidance. They are too sophisticated for the technology that we had at the time. There was no...
I don't know. I think that intelligent people have existed throughout history. It's not like they were just eating mud and dirt.
But look at the people that built that. There's no...
I mean, it's spooky how well it was done. Sure, yes. But look at our modern structures. The people that build it aren't the ones that necessarily designed it.
I know, but I'm just saying I am not convinced that people could have created something that symmetrical and that sophisticated, as well as the tombs that are still embalmed underground. A lot of ancient society tells a story that, in my mind, doesn't add up.
But we're also bereft of the entire context. There might have been things that would have perfectly explained them that just didn't stand the test of time and maybe deteriorated. But these great grand structures did last. So it's like, oh, well, how did they get here?
Right, but...
The instruction manual dissolved over the last 1,000 years.
But that's what I'm talking about. So I just watched a thing on Disney Plus. I forget what it's called. I'll reference
Indiana
it.
Jones.
Yes, but no, I watched like the modern day Indiana Jones. This guy went and he was trying to discover King Tut's tomb. I don't even think it was King Tut's. It doesn't matter who it was.
Tutankhamun.
He was trying to discover some kind of lost remains. And in the process, he found, I think it was like 500,000-year-old papyrus, the paper that they used to scribe things on, that dated well over anything that we had up until...
A bagillion years.
Right, but it had these hieroglyphs and like just things that even in the research that they knew and the things that we know about ancient societies was still sophisticated beyond what we knew about that society. It was found in a tomb.
So do you remember John's episode?
That was so spooky.
Something I mentioned in The Dead of Night was that sometimes the candle will catch really hard and get really bright. And when that happens, it seems like there may be a presence in the room.
Oh my gosh, I got goosebumps.
Black candles burned are supposed to ward off evil spirits.
So
but that's not all spirits. Or maybe it just caught a part of the wick that's more flammable than
I'm a candle. I'm a candle maker. That doesn't happen.
Candles never burn brighter than they're supposed to.
That's not what I'm saying, but there was no reason for that part specifically to burn brighter than the rest.
Cold Case Western Australia is a new true crime podcast series produced on behalf of the WA Police Force Special Crime Squad. The series examines unsolved homicide cases, some dating back several decades, in the world's largest policing jurisdiction. You'll hear new case details and insights from the investigating detectives and forensic experts. There are now $1 million rewards attached to each unsolved homicide in Western Australia. You can listen to Cold Case Western Australia wherever you get your podcasts or by visiting the WA Police Force website.
Let's see, what episodes has that happened during? John's episode, Fransalis' episode. Those are the ones that come to mind.
We didn't have the black candles when we first did hand stuff, so who's to say?
And here we are with number 4.
That's crazy.
Anyway, Conspiracy Corner is closed. Leave your angry comments below.
Yeah. We can talk about that woman for a second.
Before we get into this, I thought you were going to bring up the lady on the plane that said the person isn't there.
I was not. I was not going to go there. But
shouts to her.
Yeah.
I don't know what you did see, but I believe you, whatever you think you saw. I watched Wendigoon's 10-hour conspiracy iceberg video. I have Fire's as well. Alive, folks.
And Middle Earth,
I've heard
Agartha is real.
Agartha, the giants. Seriously, like I don't believe crazy things, but you could tell me anything and give me like half an explanation. I'd be like, maybe.
So let's go back to that woman because, to
give a little bit more of an explanation just leading into it. As I established the presence of the show on different social media outlets, I've started getting into the TikTok rabbit holes for, aliens, conspiracy stuff. I run a spooky show, so I'd like spooky content. One of the videos I had shared to Olivia was about a therapist that would take down different traits of her patients. Under deep hypnosis, she would find that some people lack a core essence or what could be considered like a soul. And her theory was that these people are placed here to be roadblocks or enrich the experience of people that are actually learning and developing and growing throughout their lives.
To be filler, if you would.
Yeah, to be background characters.
Yeah.
I think they were referred to as background people. And sure, NPC is a good modern term for it. But to give pushback to the concept before we start going into it, I think it's easy to say that because you don't know or understand the lived experience of people as a whole throughout the world. Children that are nurtured in certain ways, maybe they don't have an inner life. Maybe they're too bottled up inside to experience that growth. There's like a weird study that said most people don't have internal monologue.
Oh my gosh, if I could get my internal monologue to shut up.
Mine never shuts up. I actually went on a date with a girl that couldn't imagine images.
Like
there's an actual name for it, but she couldn't picture things in her mind.
Wow. That's
like
sad.
She could think, but there's just no visual accompaniment.
Wow.
It's like, what the fuck?
I have like a movie, a soundtrack. Like I've got a whole reel playing in my head.
It's weird, man.
That's wild. Back to that lady. She has like 30 years in psychology. I don't have that kind of background, but I do trust somebody who hypnotizes their people because I've seen hypnotism work and it is absolutely terrifying. So in college, Alex got hypnotized. It was the most terrifying night of my entire existence. He was next to me in the crowd and then she picked him and he went up on the stage and there were like 30 people that originally went up. There were only like 10 that remained on the stage because she can tell within the first 5 minutes whether you're going to be willed into her hypnotism. The first thing she had them do was act like they were monkeys at a zoo. And everybody on the stage who's still in it
waving the arms up and down.
Yeah, they're like running around, hoo hoo, hee hee hee. Then after that, the second thing was, and now you're Beyonce. And she like snaps her fingers and like everybody else is on the stage pretending they're Beyonce. And then she started doing like individual ones. And so she got through like the first 3 people and then she goes up to Alex and she's like, hey, would you like to win the lottery? And he was like, yeah. Well, when I clap my hands 3 times, you're going to win the lottery. And so she claps her hand 3 times and it is like an unrecognizable person on that stage is running around like ballistically screaming and crying. It was hard for me to watch because that was not who he was. And so I'm literally sitting in my seat crying at this point. After she did the lottery thing, she was like, okay, and now you guys are going to be lulled back into your normal state of being. And then she like wakes them all up. And so then they're all sitting on stage and he's looking into the crowd for me like, what happened?
Yeah, that's so creepy. It's like they loaded a preset personality that wasn't
into
the one
him.
that,
Into him. After the show is over, she sees me only moderately crying at that point. She's like, what would make this better for you? She's like, would it be better if I made him ravenously love you? And she like snaps her fingers and he is like hugging me and kissing me and like all over me. And it is like so unnerving because she was making
this
him.
isn't something he's actively choosing. These are just buttons on a program.
She's
pushing.
literally just pressing.
Should I turn
him.
up the saturation? You know, it's like
literally is all she's doing.
It's so creepy.
It was so terrifying.
Because it's not even just like him. It's like, what does that say about the human mind?
Right, that you could will somebody.
You could just go into the
loving me.
user controls and mess
pull
with
up
who
pull
a
up
person
old
is.
boy right now because that's literally all this is. She was like, he will love you for the rest of his days like this if you want it to be so. Tell me and I'll snap. And I was like, please just return him to normal. Just stop. Oh my God. And that whole night we went and we sat down in a conference room on campus. And I was like, we need to just sit and you need to tell me what you feel right now.
What are you thinking and feeling just so I can make sure that you're you?
Yes, because I was petrified. I will never forget that night. I cried for hours.
I hate that.
People around me had no idea why I was like, that's not him. I just kept saying, that's not him on stage. And they're like, no, he's being hypnotized. And I was like, yes, but you don't fucking understand. It's like somebody else is in there and it's his skin. That's not the person that I've been dating for 8 years.
Whenever I think about that stuff, I flash back to that Harry Potter scene where it's like, how susceptible are you to, well, you've never read the books. I don't think this part was in the movies, but it was how susceptible are you to suggestion as a wizard? And you're almost in an unconscious state. And this, I obviously haven't read this in years. I might be entirely wrong. So I'm kind of paraphrasing. But it's like you hear another voice in your head that isn't yours and it urges you to do stuff. Harry specifically was like, no, fuck you.
Yeah.
He just naturally resisted influence. And it reminds me of, there's a meme for the Doom guy, the main character in the Doom games, this guy that hunts these monsters from hell. It's literally just man too angry to die. And that's the way I kind of feel like I would be with hypnosis. It's like man too angry to be hypnotized.
For me,
like the moment someone would try to influence me, I'd just get naturally infuriated.
Yes.
But you also don't know until you're in that situation.
Right.
And by then it's already too late.
My stream of consciousness is so loud and always talking that like
it would naturally disrupt any other outside thought.
Right. I wouldn't know how somebody would take over this ship when the ship is already autopiloting itself.
Like, good luck finding the steering wheel, asshole.
Right, because I can't find the steering wheel and I'm the owner. But she could have picked me. I did not want to. I would have been afraid of what she could have done to me. And I was more afraid when I watched
what lingering
him.
effects that might have left in your programming through the rest of your life.
Yes. I was Googling hypnosis effects for hours. How can that happen? Because we really are that spongy, or that certain people don't have that internal monologue and are so easily swayed into a belief.
That is one of the most disturbing things about life to me, is that there are some people without anything going on below the surface. And it would be easy to just say they're filler people. But it's almost more terrifying if their experience is just as valid and relevant as everyone else's. Because then what does it say that you have all of this weird complication that goes with your existence? What does it say that you overthink every situation? For me specifically, what does it say that I needed to create this show to make my life interesting for me? Is that the regular state of being? Does anything that happens in this reality amount to anything?
Yeah.
Creepy.
I love to think that we are some Sims game left unattended for years on somebody's PC, my own included, that has just been like self-sustaining for the last however many years.
Folks, we're officially at the point where we're eating our own tail. We've come full circle. So now I think we're in a fun position to kind of examine the show as a whole to this point. We hit our over 20 episodes. We're almost at 1 year. An observation that I think is fun is that not long after episode 7, probably just the cat, we ended up getting a cat for a little bit. We had a cat for 7 months.
We did.
Ooh, 7 months, episode 7.
Ooh.
That is interesting. Shouts to our little boy Zeus. He was a roughly 2-year-old
Orange
tabby. Came to live with us for what was supposed to be 2 months. He stayed for 7. And he had such a personality. He had almost more personality than any cat I've ever met in my entire life.
Yeah, I'd agree.
He was very talkative. He would look at you in your eyes and meow at you. And if you addressed him and talked to him back, he would continue to meow and chirp at you.
He would watch me do something and then know how to do it himself. So like
he learned how to open doors in the house.
Yes.
If he would see us open a closet or use some kind of item, he would know how to do it then.
Oh, absolutely.
All of that is to say that any sounds that we would hear during the night, we would hear the bathroom door open downstairs.
Yep.
It was him.
Yep. Probably just a cat.
Now that he's
the
gone,
blinds.
It's like the house definitely feels empty.
Yeah.
There hasn't been any strange noises or bumps or creaks.
Don't get us wrong. We love being able to sleep, but we do miss being
we
able
miss
to
the little
kiss him.
cute boy. So shouts to him. But
So
I
shouts to
entirely
Zeus.
understand how that having a cat could cover up any paranormal experience.
For sure.
That being said, I find that it's very interesting that having interviewed so many people, that there isn't more of a paranormal presence in our lives. I've had people talk to me before the mic turned on for an interview and say, "You sure there's nothing attached to you? I don't want anything here. Are you sure you don't have anything attached to you?"
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I
And
didn't know that.
Nope.
Not to be the witchy woman on the podcast, but I do a very pointed effort of making sure that our home is cleansed monthly, that we are cleansed. But you have enough of a window into that you could definitely be susceptible to a haunting.
Maybe. And I do kind of think it's only a matter of time until it's like, ooh, something is happening.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think the
But
spookiest
look at that
thing,
flame.
yeah.
It will not happen here.
I was going to say the scariest thing that ever happened here was getting a Ring doorbell and be signed up for all the alerts in
Oh
our
my
immediate
gosh.
area. Every single night. Every single night. It's like, oh, another stabbing. Was that a gunshot? Another stabbing.
Helicopters
They're
flying
stealing.
low.
Yeah, helicopters are circling this area again. And then it's like, oh, they're stealing airbags tonight. Make sure your car's locked. So any other topics you want to broach just after having almost 22 episodes of Spooky Show at this point? It's been almost a full year of the show being in existence.
It's so wild because I remember when you were just playing around with this idea, like our young Zeus just batting it back and forth.
Yeah. I had the idea for the show maybe a year before I started making moves to actually get it out there.
Yeah.
And even just the leaps and bounds we've made in this year, as far as editing, the equipment we use,
sound quality.
It's becoming something, and that's really interesting to see. And the craziest thing is what this will eventually be. Right now, we're looking back on this year like, wow, what a crazy year. Right. What about in the next 5 years?
Right.
I could see myself doing this for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
The reason why this show exists is because there should be more fun in the world. Not fun in pursuit of a profit, not fun to be famous, to be rich, to influence, just stupid fun. Do you see how bright it is in here now?
No, I just got really cold. That's why I stuck my hand up like that. It's right at my elbow, but nowhere else.
Well, you know what that means, unfortunately.
That I have to go sage. Ooh.
But life should be more fun.
It should.
Living in the internet age we're living in now, a lot of our existences are getting boiled down to what's profitable, what's interesting, what's entertaining, what'll get likes, what'll get views. Something touched the back of my fucking head.
Right now?
Yeah.
Yikes.
But this is an important thought. Even 100 years ago, there was more aimless time in people's lives. There was more sitting and thinking about things. There was more just shooting the breeze, looking up at the sky. And I work in the tech industry. A lot of time is being optimized to get the absolute maximum amount of everything. And there's something that's just lost in the human experience when that's all life becomes. This is weird. I'm getting like cold across my feet.
I am too. It's like weirdly on like my shoulders. I don't know. Something's going on.
Weird that this starts popping off the moment I'm going into my little speech.
Yeah, right?
Spooky Show is an affirmation for the human experience.
It is. Make something creative just because you can.
Exercising your ideas is important. You're looking around the room just like I am. I feel like we're kind of got a weird vibe going on. This is getting weird, right?
My shoulder is really cold.
Yeah.
Only my shoulder.
So we spent most of the episode talking about, hey, there hasn't been anything weird really happening in the house. And guess what? Both of my shoulders and only my shoulders are starting to get cold. To quote CJ the X, who I'm also a very big fan of.
We love CJ.
Don't stop digging your weird hole. And I think that's the best way to end the episode.
It is.
Thank you for being with us, folks. We've got so much more to bring you. Thank you for being part of Spooky Show. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now those were some frightfully fun stories. Howdy everybody, it's me, your host Danny, and I wanted to let you in on something special. You might have noticed that when I introduce the show, I say we are the Hometown Horrors Podcast. That's because there will always be at least 3 people in each episode. Me, the person who wants to hear a good story, the guest, the teller of a good story, and you, the listener, that takes that story and carries it with you out into the world. And we make up a special kind of trinity. We are the Hometown Horrors Podcast. And if you ever want to graduate from listener to guest, reach out to us via our handle on Instagram, hometown_horrors_podcast. Our email is thehometownhorrorspodcast, no spaces, @gmail.com, or via text or phone call at 571-358-8880, which FYI is not my personal number, but give it a ring. I'll get back to you, because if there's anything I've learned from doing the podcast is that everybody has a story, and that story deserves to be heard. On your #1 source for the most spine-tingling, gut-wrenching, insomnia-inducing stories around, the Hometown Horrors Podcast.